is Athina and welcome back to Let's Talk Disability, the podcast focusing on a range of disabilities from autism, dyspraxia, ADHD. I talk about the lot, and in today's podcast, I want to talk about traits of ADHD that I had growing up as a child, in my adulthood, up until the age of 25, that I didn't realise I had. I want to preface this with, I do also have autism and dyspraxia, so these traits may not represent in a traditional way to how you would expect ADHD to display with autism and dyspraxia combined with them, just to let you know. So without further ado, let's get on with the podcast. I've got a list up on Google on different traits of inattentive ADHD, because that was the one I was diagnosed with. My person who diagnosed me said, I have a lot of traits of ADHD, but it's not really hyperactive, it's more inattentive. So I've had a look online and here are the lists of what are the symptoms of inattentive ADHD. Now, let's start off with, you may have trouble paying attention to details and or making frequent mistakes whilst doing a task. Now, I feel like with my autism mixed with that, I have the hyperfocus of my autism, but it's quite, the hyperfocus sort of drains off quite quickly at times. So I get the ADHD where I do struggle to pay attention, but it's not, I don't feel like it happens as quick as someone maybe with who lives with just ADHD and without autism. I've got the hyperfocus for a small amount of time, and then I do get struggling to pay attention and making mistakes. I do get that. The next one is staying focused on long-winded tasks like reading, listening, and presentations. Now, like I mentioned beforehand, I do have a good attention span. It's an okay attention span and focus when doing long-winded tasks. Although especially with reading, I do struggle with reading because I can read about 3 or 4 pages of concentration and then I just get bored. I can really get bored of it. I don't want to get bored. It's just something that happens. And when I'm listening to an audio book, it really helps me be on the go. And it really helps me be on the go and do the things I want to do, but I can still be focused. But then even then, I do struggle feeling focused. I suppose it's catch-22 with the autism. I want to stay focused, but it only happens for a small amount of time. Now, the next one is listening to others. Now, that one, actually, it really depends on the person, the situation, and what I'm interested in. So if it's something that's like hyper-focus, or I'm interested in the person, or it's a family member, which I love, I will absolutely have ease listening to the person. Whereas if it's something that maybe I'm not interested in or I'm struggling to grasp onto it, I may have trouble in paying attention and my eyes with the autism will just wander off. I really have trouble making eye contact too. It's not that I think it's boring, I just really have trouble doing it. Managing times and meeting deadline. Definitely, yeah. I don't know whether this is autism or whether it's just ADHD, but I definitely do have trouble managing time and meeting deadlines. I'm either late for a deadline or I'm really early for a deadline. I never get it right in between where I'm like, right, I'm going to submit it a couple of days beforehand. It'll either be a month beforehand or a month late. Because my brain just can't grasp the time in between. And it's like, internal screaming. Let's see what the next one is. Keeping track of common items needed to complete everyday tasks like pencils, wallets, keys. Now with that, what's the word? Object permanence. That's it. Object permanence. Object permanence is something that I really struggle with. If it's not in the place, if it's not where I can see it, it just goes completely out of my brain. So what I like to do with this, I love just to label absolutely everything in my room. And it gets to a point where if I've labelled it enough, I don't need to label it because I know where it is. But then there's a catch-22 with that, because if I'm just put it down for half a second, like, oh, I'll just put it down there, then I'll come back to it just because I'm doing something else, then I can't label it. I'm not going to go out of my way to label it because I've said to my brain I'm coming back to it. But then if I don't come back to it, then yeah, it's a goner. Well, it's not necessarily a goner, but I will find it eventually, but it might be a bit of a struggle. And the last one is remembering to complete tasks such as chores, errands, appointments. Oh my goodness. I feel like every single time someone tells me to either do the dishwasher, do this, do that, it just flies out of my brain and I'm like, right, let's do something else. And then it comes back into my brain and then I've got too much going on at once because everything's just gone out of my brain and I've gone on to a new task, and then it just gets very overwhelming. And with my autism, I want to like do one thing at a time, but struggling to remember stuff means that I can't do one thing at a time, and this is where it gets very overwhelming. And I suppose it's like them two together. I struggle to complete chores and tasks, but then my autism gets mad at me that I don't complete it because I've got a routine. Oh my goodness me. The thing is, I didn't even know some of these things for ADHD. I thought it was either autism or all my life until about the age of 23, all my autistic traits and ADHD traits. I literally just put them down to dyspraxia, saying I'm dyspraxic. This is an unknown trait of dyspraxia. Not many people know about this trait of dyspraxia. It was not an unknown trait of dyspraxia. It was autism and ADHD, which I did not know about. Now, at the bottom, it says, what are some causes of ADHD? And it does say the causes are unclear. However, research suggests it might be genetics or even a substance or alcohol or environmental factors or preterm birth. Now, I'm not sure about me. It might be genetic, although nobody in my family has been diagnosed with either three of them, but it might have skipped a generation. I don't know. Let me know if you've got ADHD on my Instagram or Facebook. That's on Life Through Dyspraxia. So I think we've reached the end of the podcast. I really hope you've actually enjoyed this episode. I know I've enjoyed it. It's actually been quite interesting because I've done a lot of research leading up to this episode, a lot of Googling the different traits, because even though I have been diagnosed 2 months, I feel like I do not know what ADHD means to me. Obviously, I display the traits, but I'm not sure what these particular traits are, whether they're part of dyspraxia or whether they're ADHD, autistic. I feel like I'm still learning every single day. So if you've got any advice for me, I'd absolutely love it. And I will not take offense. Honestly, I will not take offense. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the podcast, and I will see you next week, or if not next week, definitely the week after. I'll see you then. Bye.